Let me just open with the admission of yes, I did pick this up because I saw the cover. And I'm not going to feel bad about that, because I'm also the one who had talked to a very confused 80-year-old store clerk. I like Yuri. I'm not ashamed of that. Which is why I feel the need to tell you that. But that's enough about me. Let's cleverly transition to the series in question. What you've probably already noticed is that the cover is one of the most blatant baits I've ever seen. And I'll admit it caught me like a fish. But what really hooked me past that opening is the surprisingly vulnerable autobiography that's presented. Make no mistake, this isn't a tale of redemption or enlightenment. This is instead a more resonant and authentic piece of literature, not the commonplace dramatization of what it means to come into yourself. It's an abrasive and gritty author's account of a time when she was swinging between depressions and really didn't have any direction, but also of how that momentum dragged her into a more truer sense of self. But really, before we get to that turning point, I think it's important to understand the struggles the author had been going through or dealing with before that night that really aligned her path. As Nagata explains, her troubles began straight out of high school. Thrust into a world of higher education with really very little direction or motivation, she dropped out after about 6 months. And it's really this sense of failing that would haunt her, as it's the first mention she makes of her perceived downfall, and where she admits to developing her first vice, an eating disorder. Now, this is an important early notch in her mindset, as she admits that initially it was more of a fasting state, a self-conviction of not deserving food, which transpired into the deterioration of her health, likely because of malnutrition. Despite the elapsing trauma, she states that through these turmoils, she felt a sense of relief, as if her suffering absolved her mentally. This realization was then further spurred on by hearing the story of someone else who cut, as a way to give visibility to their perceived pain, thus allowing for a knitting of foreboding dread to physical trauma that gives some relief to the overall state of mind, which, for those unaware, is a very common understanding NSSID individuals come to, and as a fun fact, is a behavior some animals even exhibit. It's not really a fun fact. Anyways, for Nagata, this was such a strong realization that she flipped from a fasting state to one more of gluttony as her mind began to put together the pieces of a broken psyche. All this accumulating into a walk to work one day, leaving her weak in the knees and drained of any ability to move forward throughout her struggle. She tries to describe her muddled feelings as a dark and painful space with nothing below my feet, which aside from being a film portrayal of sadness is a very real manifestation of severe anxiety and depression. And this is the real stage of the story henceforth. This is going to be an abrasive look at the ongoing difficulties the author had and has in recent times. Which is why Seven Seas felt compelled to publish this work out in the West, and I have the need to share this series with you today, because beyond that hook that got most of you here, admittedly me as well, is a quality fragment of truth that I feel can help people struggling with either depression, sexuality, or a place in life. It's a witty, entertaining, and naked tale contained in a pink highlighter and pen style, and overall it exceeded my expectations on every front. The first and second edition are pretty easy to find. Some bookstores and online retailers hold them, while the third release is on the 12th, and I'd actually encourage you to give this series a try, because I really do believe you'll have a good time with it. That is, of course, if you can take my word for it, because really, I'm just a guy who likes Yuri.